Hello everyone, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And thank you so much for your precious time watching our film. Thank you so much. I hope you guys didn't fall asleep.
So let's get started. So my first question is, how do you come up with this story and this protagonist, Pamela? So the origin of this whole story.
Actually, when I was at the age of 12, the moment I started doing meditation with my father, I started dreaming about my previous life, and I had a strong feeling that I was a monk in my previous life, and that recurring dream never stopped haunting me. At that time, I wrote a short poem, and then later when I was in high school, I wrote a short story. And from that moment, I was always thinking to visit this place just to check whether that was my fantasy or my imagination, or is it the truth. So after I finished my first feature film, I had an opportunity to visit this village, though it's in my hometown, but it's very far away from my own village. So when I reached there, I found everything was accurately same, like the monastery, the school, the villages, and I found them very close to me. And even I found some of my friends, family members, relatives in that village. And immediately I felt like, okay, this will be my second film. And I started writing a story from that moment. And about the protagonist, actually, when I was writing the first draft of the script, the main protagonist was male. And later on, somehow I realized being an artist, being a filmmaker, is also very important for me to discover my feminine side, my feminine energy. Because for me, of course, I'm a filmmaker. I really value to make cinema, but at the same time, I really care about my internal growth as a human being. So I felt like this is really interesting for me to see my feminine side, to discover my feminine energy. That's how I sense the character and made it female protagonist that could resonate to my own human existence.
My second question is, we see that it's a co-production of many places and many countries. So I'm interested about the pre-production. How do you get all the funding from all these different countries? We see maybe even Hong Kong, Taiwan, Turkey all participated in this project.
Actually, I had same French producer with whom I used to work from long time ago. And about Hong Kong producer, actually she's here. I would like to thanks to my Hong Kong's producer, Zong Suk Fong Fanny. So we used to actually first time when she came to Nepal to produce another film. We started working for a few other projects, not my own film as a director, but we used to produce films for young filmmakers in Nepal. So from that moment, we started working together in this project. And about Norway, Turkey, Taiwan, there was actually co-production because of the funds that we applied. And some of the funds that we received for the pre-production. So actually, my first feature film was, I would say, that was the first Nepalese film that went to film funds. So this was another practice as follow-up from my previous film. And some of the producers are also from my previous film that we used to work together. That's how they trusted me. I would like to thanks to my producers.
But did it take a very long time for you to get all this funding, because you have to participate in different film markets and pitching workshops?
Yeah, actually, it took almost 9 years to complete this film, but it's not only because of getting funds and going through all those markets, labs. The main reason was to finish the script because I was really not happy until I finished 48 drafts, and it took really almost like 8 years for me. So we had 50 drafts before the shooting altogether. So of course the funding took a bit longer because of COVID, because we had to stop the project during the COVID. Besides that, yeah, actually this was my first experience going through the market, labs, hubs, residency, because from my previous film, the first feature film that I made as a director, I just finished in 6 months from the script writing till post-production. So I thought this is the last chance for me as a filmmaker to go through all those funds, markets, just to see how it works. Actually, I would say it really works.
I heard that another challenge is the shooting, because the shooting took place in the mountains, and this is really something that very harsh and difficult for your crew and also for yourself, right?
Yeah, actually the village where we shot this film is the highest human settlement in the earth, so definitely it was not so easy. So the altitude was 4,200 to 6,200 meters, and the weather was really challenging. But I had a very good crew members, and most of the crew that I used to work with them, so they were practiced to work in the mountains, and most of them, they were my students, my relatives, my family members actually. And some of the crew members who work in this film, they are from this local village, and they never had, they never worked in cinema before. So we gave them training for almost 6.5 months, like some of the crew members here. And they were very nice. And there were some foreign crew members from Russia, from Kazakhstan, but for them it was really difficult. And the crew was very small, less than 20 crew members. And all of them, they were so nice. And actually we had a workshop like an army camp before we went to the location. We had almost more than 6 months of workshop in Kathmandu, and then we stayed in the village for 4 months for the workshop. And everybody was so intimate, so close, and we were helping each other. So we had really good energy in order to survive in the mountain. We were helping each other, and there was not one of the crew members who was just responsible for one department. Each person has to be responsible for many departments. So, yeah, but besides that, there was some facilities that provided by our producers, like the team of the doctors was unsaid because some of the crew members and cast, they had altitude sickness and helicopter rescues and so on. But finally we survived. Yeah.
Let's open to the floor. Is there any question from the audience? If you have any questions, just raise your hand.
Thank you, director. I'm curious, like, what exactly is the time set in the film? Because to me, it feels like a bit back in times like last century, but I'm not sure whether it is deliberately set in a very contemporary time. And also, I noticed that in the after the film, there are a lot of crew or participants in the film. Their last names are Guru, the whole page. So I wonder, are there the relatives or the villagers in the same village? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Actually, all the villages from that region, they were from 9 different villages from the same region. And it's very interesting, all of their last name is same Gurung. That's why you have seen all the Gurungs. What was the first question?
The setting of time.
No, we haven't mentioned properly about the time in the film. But if you ask me, I would say it could be present time, especially in this kind of mountains. And still there is no road access, no electricity, and the situations, the atmosphere, the settings you have seen in the film, and the life in this village are pretty much similar even nowadays. So even though we haven't mentioned any specific time, I would say it could be present time. Thank you.
Hello, namaste. I would like to ask, what is the social or cultural meaning of hanging the boots by the man? Because hanging the boots by the man, yeah, because I saw, like, for example, the child, like, when they got married, they hang the boots. The child also, when he was drunk, he hung the boots. And at the, almost towards the end, when Tashi met Pema again, he also hung the boots. So I was wondering, what is the cultural context?
Okay, thank you so much for your question. Actually, the cultural essence of hanging the boot for the husband is saying that I'm inside, I'm the man of this house. So for rest of the brothers, they think that who is inside the house, because practicing this polyandry culture in the mountains, not all the brothers, so-called husbands, will stay at home at once, because some of them goes for the trade, and some of them, the middle brother has to go to the monastery. So whoever is at home, he has to hang his boots. So symbolically it's saying that, so I am here at home.
Another question?
Thank you so much for showing us such an amazing movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And my question is about, I saw Pema with her head shoved at the very beginning of this movie, like in the pictures, but I didn't saw her at the end. We saw her baby when herself is no-show. So I was wondering if she enjoyed her new life, or what is the what is the real end of her? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Actually, as you said, we see Pema at the beginning with herself here. So at the end of the film as well, the closing shot, it's Pema actually with her kids. Thank you. I'm happy that you are surprised.
Maybe we wish to second part.
Hi, namaste. I have a sharing. Just want to just share what I think, and I want to ask, how do you think? And for me, the Pema, the character, is very surreal, and I don't feel related. I don't feel she's a real woman. She's like a lotus or something, like no spot, no like shortcoming. Everything about her is perfect. She's like I don't know, like a saint. And she's so persistent to prove her innocence, and she's so wise. And it just for me, it doesn't feel like a real human. Yeah, that's what I feel. And also, I feel she's facing so much social pressure in her community. Also, her husband is facing this kind of pressure, but I don't really feel like she find a way to fight against it. She still go with the flow and she do the arrow shooting thing. Even she saw another girl who did it and then she killed herself. I don't understand like why she still follow this path and doesn't seem like she ever break through this suppression of the woman.
Okay, thank you for your question. Actually, let me tell you first, most of the women who lives in the mountains, they are really, really stronger than, I would say, anybody else here in this theater. Because they have such a responsibility not only towards their family, because there's, of course, they are not so educated like you and me and all of us, because some of the peoples who are living in the mountain and who are not as educated as we are, definitely they would not have more choices. They would not have more references in terms of to take ribbons or to say, okay, no, I don't want to go this path, I don't want to go that way. So definitely they doesn't have many choices. The first thing. And second, I would say that's in positive way, in another way, like they are the wiser people who lives in the mountain, more wiser than us, because the way they express, the way they take ribbons is not that we could see from outside. Because my whole intention to portray this woman character, this female protagonist, is more like introvert character, very stubborn woman, but at the same time, just to portray the feminine energy, feminine side, which is very much related to compassion, forgiveness. Because nowadays I see many people like you, me, including me, of course, we are very easy to take ribbons. Of course, we would say, okay, I don't like this man, I hate this person, I hate that. But the true human being for me, especially in Buddhism, and especially the people who lives in the Himalayas, they have really wise thought that if they want to take revenge, not from outside, rather they would try to see themselves from inside. And that's the best way to change ourselves. And that's the purity, and that's the forgiveness, compassion, that every female has this special quality, not only just to giving a birth to a child. I would say this is the best quality that all the women have. At least as a filmmaker, as an artist, I truly believe that. Thank you.
The last question.
First of all, thank you for making this film. I really enjoyed it, and at the end, I remember I was like I was really surprised by the ending. My question is, I actually am very curious about like the production process, especially during the filming. You mentioned that like this whole production spans like 9 years. Could you share more details with us?
Actually, the total time duration 9 years. That includes script writing, research, and of course location scouting, pre-production and production. The actual script writing process, it took almost 8 years. And I was frequently visiting this village back and forth with my team during the research, writing, casting, location scouting. And me and my team members, we stayed there for a couple of months for pre-productions. And actually, we were supposed to finish this shooting for 68 days. We planned for 68 days, but unfortunately, we finished in 23 days. Because me and my entire team, of course, we're not in rush to finish the shooting, but somehow we ended up within 23 days. Now I would say just because of my team was so professional and so good, and we're saying like, okay, let's die for each shot, because the situation in this village while working was really, really tough. Like the temperature was -25, super windy. There was no toilet, nothing. Almost like we were eating potatoes, barley potatoes. But we really enjoyed because that was our choice. That was my choice and my crew members' choices. So the good thing was we managed to had 2 rounds of dummy shootings on cell phone, and then we had, of course, storyboard, and everything was really, really well planned with. Everything was written on paper, well-planned rehearsals, and most of the actors were non-actors, though. They were so hardworking. So because of my cast and crew, it happened. We really managed. But I would say, imagine if there was not really hardworking people or like proper cast and crew who could not easily survive in the mountain. And second, imagine if we had caught in the whole film, I would say it would have taken like more than 15 years to make this film in the mountain.
Sorry that the time is running out for the Q&A. Thank you to Min again for making these amazing movies and coming here to share with us. Please give a big hand. If you want to take